He kissed his wife goodbye, headed for a business trip, but a canceled flight brought him home early. What he overheard on an accidental call shattered his world. A stranger's car, a mysterious watch, and a web of lies unraveled. This is the story of Jake, a man who turned betrayal into a calculated comeback, without breaking a single law. Jake kissed Mia goodbye at dawn, his suitcase already by the door. The Charlotte morning was crisp, the kind that promised a clear day. He was headed to Atlanta for a logistics conference, 2 days of panels, case studies, and networking that could land him a promotion. Mia, his high school sweetheart of 10 years, smiled from the couch, cradling a steaming mug. "Knock 'em dead," she said, her voice warm. "I'll be cheering you on from here." Jake grinned, gave her a quick wave, and left for the airport, his mind already on his PowerPoint slides. By 10 a.m., he was back in Charlotte. A mechanical issue grounded his flight. No explanation, just a voucher and a shrug from the airline. Annoyed but practical, Jake decided to use the unexpected day off. He'd grab his notebook from home, left on the kitchen counter, and surprise Mia with her favorite lunch from Dells Boulevard, a turkey almond wrap and lentil soup. It felt like a small way to keep their connection tight, especially with his work pulling him away so often. Driving down their quiet street, Jake's eyes snagged on a cherry-red Mustang parked a house over, too close to their driveway. Its waxed hood gleamed, tires still slick from a recent drive. He slowed, noting the custom plates, unfamiliar, bold. The engine was off, but the hood radiated heat. Jake wasn't one for paranoia, but the car's placement felt deliberate, like it was staking a claim. He shook it off, parked, and headed inside. The house hit him with an unfamiliar scent, spiced, floral, with a citrus edge. Not the usual garlic or rosemary from Mia's cooking. It was sharp, intentional, like someone was curating the air. Jake stepped into the living room and froze. 2 glasses sat on the coffee table, one half full, the other nearly empty, condensation pooling beneath them. A faint pink smudge marked one rim. Lipstick, maybe Mia's. The other had a thick fingerprint, too large to be hers. His stomach tightened. Mia didn't use their good glassware for solo drinks, especially not at noon. Across the room, a thin wisp of smoke curled from an incense stick in a brass holder. The ceiling fan hummed faintly, stirring the haze. Then he saw it. A black, bulky smartwatch charging on the side table. Not his. Definitely not Mia's. She wore a sleek, rose-gold one. Jake picked it up. It buzzed, the screen lighting up to a generic profile icon and a 4-digit passcode prompt. He set it down, his pulse quickening. Mia's voice broke the silence from the hallway. Oh my God. She stood in the archway to the kitchen, barefoot, hair in a loose bun, wearing a teal silk robe that hit mid-thigh. It wasn't her usual yoga pants or oversized hoodie. "I thought you were halfway to Atlanta. What happened?" Her smile was bright, but her eyes flicked to the glasses, then the watch. "Flight canceled," Jake said, keeping his tone even. "Mechanical issue. Figured I'd grab my notebook and bring you lunch." He nodded toward the takeout bag in his hand. "That's so sweet," she said, stepping forward. Her gaze darted to the glasses again, then the watch. "Oh, that's Ryan's," she added quickly, gesturing to the device. "He just left. You remember him, right? My business coach from the leadership program. We were brainstorming a new client package. Everywhere else was too loud or crowded." Jake nodded, his face neutral. Ryan. The name rang a bell. Her mentor, always mentioned in passing. "Didn't know you held meetings here," he said, his eyes lingering on the rope. Mia shrugged, casual. "Yeah, well, remote work, you know. It was either here or that Starbucks by the plumbing store. Not exactly the vibe for strategy." She laughed, light and practiced, then grabbed the takeout. "Thanks for this. Oh, can you check the Wi-Fi later? My Zoom calls keep dropping." Jake murmured a vague agreement, his mind elsewhere. The glasses, the watch, the incense, it didn't add up. Mia shifted topics, asking about his hotel reservation for the rescheduled flight. The conversation danced around the evidence in the room, her words smooth, redirecting. Jake let it slide, not ready to push. He excused himself to grab his notebook upstairs, needing a moment to process. Sitting on the edge of their bed, he stared at the wall. The house felt off, like he'd walked into someone else's script. Mia's explanation was plausible, barely. But the Mustang outside, the charged watch, the paired glasses, they were puzzle pieces that didn't fit her story. Jake's gut churned, not with anger, but with a dawning clarity. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just a canceled flight. That night, his phone buzzed at 9:40 p.m. Mia's name lit up the screen. "Hey, Han," she said, her voice bright over the hum of background noise. Music, laughter, clinking glasses. Just a heads up, I'm at a work thing. End of project celebration at the Bellevue with Ryan and some others. I'll be home late, so don't wait up. Which hotel? Jake asked, casual. A brief pause. Oh, you know, the Bellevue. Our usual spot for client offsites. Her tone was breezy, but the name hit Jake like a brick. The Bellevue, the same logo as the keycard he'd found weeks ago in their kitchen drawer, the one she'd brushed off as a leftover from their anniversary. All right, he said, keeping his voice steady. Have fun. They hung up, or so he thought. The call didn't disconnect. The screen showed it still active, seconds ticking. Jake held the phone to his ear, hearing muffled sounds, music, a low laugh. Then a man's voice, deep, unfamiliar. Damn, that looks incredible on you. Mia's giggle followed, soft, intimate, the kind she used to save for him. A rustle, a breathy sigh, the unmistakable sound of lips meeting. It lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it was enough. Jake didn't move. His ears burned, his stomach knotted. He stared at the call log. 9:41 p.m. to 9:44 p.m. 3 minutes and 14 seconds. He saved a screenshot, recorded a voice memo describing what he'd heard, and noted the hotel's name. The keycard's logo flashed in his mind. This wasn't a hunch anymore. It was proof. Jake woke the next morning to the smell of coffee. Mia already in the kitchen, humming as she poured a mug. Her normalcy was jarring, a performance he now saw through. Last night's call from the Bellevue. Her voice, the man's laugh, the intimate sounds, replayed in his head. He didn't confront her. Instead, he sipped his coffee, nodded at her small talk, and began to watch. His logistics training kicked in. Observe, collect, analyze. If Mia was hiding something, he'd find the pattern. He started with her phone habits. Mia used to leave her device everywhere. Couch, counter, open to Instagram or texts. But lately, it was always face down, locked with a new passcode. One evening, while she showered, Jake picked it up to mute a buzzing call. The screen demanded Face ID. When Mia emerged, she froze for a split second before laughing it off. Work's cracking down on security, she said. Client data stuff. Jake nodded, but her job as a life coach ran on Slack and email, not sensitive phone apps. The excuse didn't hold. Then came the late nights. Mia claimed client sessions were running long, citing end-of-quarter stress. People need breakthroughs, she'd say, leaving at 6 p.m. and returning past 11. Jake noticed no follow-ups, no invoices, no client feedback, none of the usual post-session buzz she used to share. One night, she came home with damp hair, saying she'd hit the gym. But her gym bag hadn't moved from the closet in months. Jake let it slide, filing the discrepancy away. Social media offered more clues. Mia mentioned a women's leadership retreat in the Blue Ridge Mountains, explaining her weekend absence and spotty cell service. Jake didn't pry, but later saw her friend Natalie's Instagram post. Cocktails and tapas at a downtown Charlotte rooftop bar, timestamped that same night. Mia was tagged, laughing in the background. When he asked, she shrugged. Plans changed. We stayed local for a low-key vibe. Her ease with the lie unnerved him. A receipt in her car's glove box caught his eye days later. It was from the Bellevue, dated a week before the call, labeled Consulting Suite. Not their anniversary trip from over a year ago, as she'd claimed about the keycard. Jake pocketed it, his mind racing. He checked their shared tablet, used mostly for recipes. It lit up with a message preview from Ryan. Miss you already. Can't stop thinking about last night. Jake's heart thudded. He didn't open the thread, avoiding any red notification, but the words burned into him. The final straw came during a routine errand. Searching for a phone charger in their kitchen drawer, Jake found a sleek black box tucked beneath cables. Inside was lingerie, expensive, unopened, unlike anything Mia wore for him. When he asked, she called it a surprise she hadn't given yet. But the price tag, still attached, suggested otherwise. It was bold, meant to impress someone new. Jake's doubt hardened into certainty. Mia was living a parallel life. Each discovery tightened the knot in his chest, but Jake stayed calm. He began documenting photos of the receipt, screenshots of Natalie's post, a note about the lingerie. He wasn't building a case to confront her. He was protecting himself. The call from the Bellevue wasn't a one-off. It was a window into a truth Mia thought she'd hidden. Jake's next step wasn't anger, it was preparation. Jake's world tilted when an email pinged on his work laptop. Buried among logistics updates was a forwarded message from Mia's professional account. Subject: request for feedback, coaching collaboration pitch. She'd likely CC'd him out of habit. He opened it, expecting boilerplate. Instead, a glossy presentation loaded, titled The Intimacy Leadership Model. The third slide stopped him cold, a promotional video, filmed in their Charlotte living room. Mia and Ryan stood side by side, smiling as co-founders, pitching emotional breakthroughs and shared transformation. The familiar couch, bookshelf, even the cactus Jake had knocked over last month, still with disturbed soil, framed their performance. They'd turned his home into a stage for their lie. His breath caught. This wasn't just betrayal. It was calculated, brazen. Jake saved the file, his hands steady despite the churn in his gut. He rewatched the video, noting every detail, the timestamp, the logo on Ryan's jacket, the way Mia leaned into him. It wasn't a one-off affair. This was a structured deception, monetized and branded, using their shared space as a prop. He exported the slides to a secure drive, his mind already mapping next steps. The tablet in the kitchen buzzed again the next day while Mia was out. Jake glanced at the screen. A group chat, not just Ryan but two unfamiliar names. A message read, "Same time next weekend." She said her husband's traveling again. LOL. Room 409 booked. Another chimed in. "Mia, bring the blindfolds again." Winking-faced Jake's stomach lurched, not at the implication, but at the casual coordination. This wasn't a fling, it was a network. He screenshot the thread, careful not to mark it red, and backed it up to his encrypted folder. Later, he dug into their bank records. Hidden among vague charges, wellness workshop, group performance suite, were multiple transactions to the Bellevue, some predating the keycard he'd found. One matched the night of the accidental call. Jake cross-referenced dates with Mia's client meetings. The overlap was undeniable. She'd coded her secret life as business expenses, banking on his trust to avoid scrutiny. He printed the statements, adding them to his growing archive. Jake's evenings became a ritual of quiet observation. He noticed Mia's phone screen tilting away during texts, her sudden interest in networking events that left no paper trail. Once, he spotted a parking stub from a lot near the Bellevue, tucked in her purse. She'd claimed to be at a coffee shop that night. He photographed it, adding it to his evidence without a word. Each piece, screenshots, receipts, the call recording, formed a timeline he could present without argument. At work, Jake buried himself in projects, his focus razor-sharp. His boss praised his drive, unaware it was fueled by a need to stay grounded. After hours, he walked the neighborhood, passing lit-up homes where families laughed over dinner. The contrast stung, but it clarified his resolve. He wasn't unraveling. He was rebuilding. He contacted a lawyer recommended by a friend, scheduling a discreet call. Over lunch, he laid out the evidence. The video, the call, the financials. The lawyer listened, then nodded. "You're doing this right. Stay quiet. Build the case." Jake agreed. No outbursts, no accusations. Just preparation. By week's end, Jake had a plan. He wasn't ready to leave, but he packed a go bag, laptop, documents, a few clothes, hidden in the garage. The Mustang reappeared outside, always at odd hours. Jake noted its plates, cross-checking them online. No match, but the pattern was enough. Mia's lies weren't sloppy, they were practiced. And Jake was done being the unaware husband in her script. Jake moved like a ghost in his own life, his actions precise, invisible. Mia's routine continued. Casual kisses, plans for a weekend getaway, mentions of a friend's wedding they should RSVP for. She had no idea he was dismantling their shared world. His evidence, screenshots, bank records, the damning call recording, the presentation filmed in their living room, was now a fortress stored on a password-protected flash drive, a cloud account, and a hard drive locked in his office desk. He wasn't preparing for a fight. He was ensuring he'd never need to have one. First, he tackled their finances. Their joint account covered bills, but Jake's salary went to a separate one. He opened a new checking account at a different bank, redirecting his direct deposit. He canceled shared credit cards, replacing them with one in his name only. Mia's vague charges to the Bellevue wouldn't touch him anymore. He audited subscriptions, streaming services, gym memberships, even their shared grocery app, removing his name where possible. Each step was a quiet severance, unnoticed by Mia, who still texted him about dinner plans. Next, he secured their digital footprint. Jake had always managed their tech, Wi-Fi, security cameras, smart devices. He reset passwords, locking Mia out of shared accounts. The home camera system, once a casual convenience, now streamed to his phone only. He exported their shared calendar, then deleted it. Cloud drives, email access, even their thermostats app, every link was cut. He didn't block her. He simply erased his presence from her digital reach, ensuring she couldn't track his moves. Jake found a room to rent above a carpentry shop in Charlotte's noted district. The owner, a gruff but fair man, accepted partial rent in exchange for Jake's help sanding furniture. He moved essentials, clothes, his laptop, the evidence drives, into a duffel bag, stashed in the garage inside a box labeled holiday decorations. Mia never checked there. Each night, he'd carry on as usual, eating dinner with her, nodding at her stories about clients, while mentally rehearsing his exit. At work, Jake doubled down, taking on extra projects. His focus impressed colleagues, who assumed he was gunning for a promotion. In truth, it was a lifeline, keeping him steady. He met his lawyer again, this time in person at a quiet cafe. She reviewed his evidence, nodding approval. "You've got enough for a clean divorce," she said. "Infidelity, financial misconduct, it's all here. Don't confront her yet. Let her think she's in control." Jake agreed, his silence a shield. Mia's behavior grew bolder. One evening, she left for another client meeting, her phone angled away as she typed. Jake checked the home camera feed after she drove off. 20 minutes later, the cherry-red Mustang pulled up, idling briefly before speeding away. He logged the time and plates, adding it to his archive. Another day, he found a handwritten note in her jacket pocket. "Thanks for the sweet, Mia. Let's keep the group energy alive. Kate." The name meant nothing, but the implication was clear, a network, not just one affair. He photographed it, filed it. Jake's evenings alone were spent planning. He researched apartments, budgeting for a new start. He didn't tell friends or family, not even his brother. This was his burden, his strategy. Mia's lies no longer stung. They were data points, confirming what he already knew. He slept beside her each night, her presence a reminder of what he was leaving, not just a person, but a life built on illusion. His go-bag waited, his evidence secure. The moment to act was near, and Jake was ready to walk away without a scene. Jake finalized his exit with the precision of a logistics plan. His evidence, screenshots, receipts, the call recording, the presentation filmed in their home, was organized, time-stamped, and backed up across 3 secure locations. He'd moved his essentials to the rented room above the carpentry shop, where he sanded tables by day and slept on a cot by night. Mia remained oblivious, still playing the role of attentive wife, suggesting brunch spots and asking about his work. Her performance only sharpened his resolve. One morning, as Mia left for a client brunch, Jake acted. He drove to the carpentry shop, retrieved his duffel bag, and returned to the house. On the kitchen counter, he left a single note. "I know everything. My lawyer will handle this." He placed his house keys beside it, locked the door, and walked away. No shouting, no accusations, just a clean break. He checked into his new room, the scent of sawdust grounding him. His phone stayed silent for hours, a quiet before the storm. By evening, Mia's texts flooded in. First, apologies. "I'm so sorry, Jake. Let's talk." Then excuses. "It's not what you think. I got caught up in work." Finally, a desperate claim. "I'm pregnant. It's yours. Please come home." Jake read each message, but the pregnancy timeline didn't add up. Too recent, too convenient. He didn't respond. Instead, he forwarded the text to his lawyer, along with a note about the claim. His evidence was ironclad. Her words were just noise. The lawyer moved swiftly. Using Jake's documentation, bank records showing Mia's Bellevue charges, the group chat screenshots, the video exploiting their home, she filed for divorce. The financial discrepancies, coded as consulting expenses, unraveled Mia's coaching business. Clients dropped her when the lawyer sent a discreet letter highlighting the misuse of funds, framed as a breach of trust. Ryan's reputation tanked alongside hers, his leadership model exposed as a front. Jake didn't gloat. He let the truth work. Weeks later, Jake settled into a small apartment near Charlotte's Uptown. His promotion came through, earned through months of focused work. He spent evenings walking the city's vibrant streets, passing food trucks and live music, feeling lighter with each step. Mia's messages tapered off, her pleas turning to silence. The divorce finalized quietly, the evidence ensuring Jake kept their shared assets, mostly his savings. Mia's pregnancy claim fizzled. No proof emerged, and Jake didn't chase it. One night, sorting through mail forwarded from the old house, Jake found a card from a former client of Mia's. It thanked her for a transformative retreat at the Bellevue, dated during one of his business trips. He tossed it in the trash, unbothered. The Mustang no longer parked near the old house. Neighbors' camera footage confirmed it hadn't returned. Jake didn't need closure. He'd built his own. He signed up for a local woodworking class, finding calm in crafting something tangible, something honest. Jake's new life wasn't about revenge. It was about freedom. Mia had expected a confrontation, a chance to spin her story. He gave her none. His silence, backed by evidence, let her actions collapse under their own weight. As he locked his apartment door one evening, heading to meet colleagues for drinks, Jake felt the weight of the past lift. He wasn't the man who'd trusted blindly anymore. He was the one who'd walked away whole.